Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem Party. So sit back, relax, and watch from anywhere. Get ready for a chat with the chair.
I'm Joe Etling, Chair of the Vigo County Democratic Central Committee, and welcome to the award-winning Chat with the Chair. So happy you could join us. We are in our spacious studio in downtown Terre Haute. We have got a new set. Look at this round table tonight. It's got to be genuine mahogany, I think, this tabletop. It is unbelievable now. You would think that we probably have had a corporate sponsor roll in here to sponsor the Chat with the Chair, but actually we've just had some good luck here in getting this kind of a set. This is a professional operation here, and we just appreciate you tuning in and chatting with us tonight. I know that everybody is enjoying their end of their summer. Been very warm out. Hopefully you're getting in some air conditioning, some last minute enjoyment for the summertime. And I want you to sit back because we have a tremendous show tonight. A guest who has joined us. In fact, she most recently joined us at the Vigo County Fair, and I'm going to tell you, she was one of the best tasters out there, and she's going to talk to us a little about that too. So,
just for my favorite drink.
Everybody I know knows who you are, but just go ahead and tell them again who you are.
I am Marie Theisz. I'm Vigo County Council at Large, and a few other things.
A few other things we're going to talk about, and I wasn't kidding that we last saw each other at the Vigo County Fair.
Citrus Sensations.
Citrus Sensations. So a local fair, a local vendor. Tell our viewers about that, though, just in case they missed out on that show.
Not that I am biased against lemon shake-ups, because lemon shake-ups are always a classic.
Absolutely.
But Citrus Sensations, all kinds of fruit, less sugar. It's just good. It's good stuff. So refreshing.
A local vendor.
Yeah.
And on top of it all.
He's always my go-to. Only thing I do. Other than Saudi Bobby.
All the way. And so Marie was quite a sport down at the fair, and we got her to enjoy her beverage of choice with us and share the little secrets that she had. So Saudi Bobby is the go-to food.
So I see all the other stuff. I still love Saudi Bobbies.
She goes back. She's a
traditionalist.
I'm a
traditionalist. Tried my new drink, but I'll stick with Saudi Bobbies.
So, of course, you wear many hats, as you were alluding to, and at the top of the list as far as, of course, wife and mother is at the top of the list. And let Annie know the mother's above the wife, but that's for another day, too. But your role as an educator, and you, I know, had a tough day at the office today.
It wasn't too bad today, but yeah, it's getting used to it again. It's always a start.
So here in Vigo County, the children have gone back to school as of last Thursday. Is that correct?
Yep, Thursday.
And of course, as the teachers, you guys have been in the building for longer than that. But talk about how the school year started off here and what's going on.
I think it's a good start. I was just kind of talking a little bit beforehand. It's really the first kind of normal start we've had in a couple years. No masks, no quarantines. Kids are back into regular. I know. Let's keep it that way.
Yes.
It's just a joy. We had a great pep rally. We always have a good pep rally at North, and
rich tradition at Terre Haute.
It is
right?
Big one. It's a big one. You got the senior section and the pants and all that, but. No, I think it was a good start. I think the kids, I will say, out of everything, I think the kids and the teachers appreciate little things like that more, like pep rallies and things, because we couldn't have them for so long.
So remind our viewers a little bit about your time at Terre Haute North and what you're teaching there. Yeah.
I came to North, actually I had taught at West Vigo for a while, but I came to North specifically to be a counselor in 2003, so I've been there a while.
Wow.
And then
for a 21-year-old, you really got some experience there.
I know. I just kind of jumped right in from high school.
Wow.
But in about, I think it was 2013, I went back to teaching. I missed teaching. And about 3 years ago, this will be my fourth year actually, I started teaching Advanced Placement College Challenge U.S. History, so APUSH as we call it. which has taken me to ISU for a few other classes and things. So it's
Wow,
kept me
that's
busy.
impressive.
Yeah.
So I take it if I get on one of these shows and I'm supposed to phone a friend, you'd be a good one to call. Then.
Yeah, but under pressure, I don't know. I always say I think I'd be good on Jeopardy and stuff like that, but I'm afraid I'd panic in the moment.
You'll handle that. So getting back into the classroom, how has it been?
It's been good. I've also been really active with, I have great kids. I really do. I have my son for the first time.
Really?
For a whole year. Yeah.
Wow.
I had one son for like 12 weeks, but this one I have for a whole year.
Maybe we need to interview him to see what his
He'd
take
probably
on.
be pretty good at the end of the year to
right?
give you a rundown.
We'd probably get the real rundown.
Yeah, and he's a class officer, so
is that
maybe
right?
he'll follow in
Awesome.
the footsteps. I don't know. You never know. But luckily he's a pretty good student. But yeah, it's kind of that first day. He kind of looks at me and we're like, do we even acknowledge that we know each other?
So
Most
how
of
is
the kids
that?
know.
What does he call you? What does he refer to?
He doesn't call me anything.
Really?
Yeah, no. But the kids know. I think most of the kids know. That's what we determined today was most of the students know.
So moving forward, if he has a question, what's he going to do? So I'll just ask
just
at the
kind of
dinner
raise,
table?
yeah. No, he'll just raise his hand. He'll probably call me mom eventually. But
You think so?
yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's
And I have my niece and nephew too, so they're in that same
wow.
situation.
all in the family in that classroom.
Yeah, and like I said, luckily they're good students, so I don't have to worry too much about them. But
Well, that's got to be a fun opportunity to have.
it is. Actually, I think I'll enjoy it. He loves. I told him, don't go easy on me. My son loves history. As a matter of fact, here's a little trivia fact. I got to give a shout out.
Okay.
Terre Haute North last year, their History Bowl won the state championship.
What?
Most people don't know that. Now, the advantage, the topic was Canada. So Drew
Which
was
you
all
know a
in.
little something about.
Well, and Drew was all in, and he was the captain. And but yeah, no, it was a great group of kids, and we've made it out of regionals a couple times. But I don't think we have ever had a social studies state champion.
State champions, Terre Haute North. I mean,
and I didn't coach them. That was Kyle Burdick. I mean, that was
Kyle
all
Burdick.
them. Yeah.
Well,
so.
good shout out for them. I think our crew knew that. They all were nodding. Oh yeah, we
Oh,
knew
yeah,
that.
oh, yeah.
They knew it. But that is great.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
huge.
that
It was
doesn't get
huge.
quite the attention it should. So we
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
here on the chat want to give it that attention. And you work that in, you segue that in nicely about Canada. So what can you tell us about your track record with Canada?
Well, both my parents are from Quebec. We were kind of chatting about it was good. My French kind of came into play. This year we were able to go to Europe with a group of kids from North, and some of my French came back to me. But it was fun, and we're trying to explore a little bit more of Canada. My parents are just from the French-speaking part. But like this spring break, we went up to Toronto, and I think one of my sons I wouldn't be surprised if he moves up there. He loves it
right?
up there. Yeah, the one that won the state.
So
I think he loves it there.
If I got that pronunciation, you said
Quebec.
Quebec.
Yeah, not Quebec.
Wow, Quebec.
Quebec.
Are we getting that down? The crew is nodding again. Quebec.
And then I always tell people it is, especially Quebec City, if you can't afford to go to Europe, or if you're afraid of flying or doing like that kind of trip, go up there. It is really, truly the closest.
I'm asking the viewers, how many of you refer to as Quebec? I mean, raise your hand out there in the viewer world, Quebec. So my entire life,
Quebec.
even through Catholic education, I didn't get slapped by the nuns on the ruler when I said Quebec. Yeah. How is it that I've not known
That's how
this?
Americans say it. But
really?
yeah, Quebec.
So what happens in your classroom if hey, Mom, what happened in Quebec?
Because he knows better.
What happens? What's the?
I just tell them that's because they'll hear me. Actually, the kids pick up on me just like you did.
Yes.
Quebec, and I'll just tell them it's
smart
because
like
I've grown up around it. So for me, it's just as now I don't really get upset if they say Quebec, but yeah.
Wow. So
yeah,
again, we've got breaking news on the Chat with the Chair again. I mean, if you really watch this show,
you can learn a lot.
You can absolutely. I mean, I learn something every time I sit down to chat, and now that I've got the round table,
I know.
I mean, I think we're going to be able to have more people at the round table. I mean,
that'd be good.
So kind of like King Arthur. I mean, I'm kind of seeing that as the way we can go with that. What do you think?
Whatever you want.
All right. So, of course, it sounds like you've had an awesome year. I mean, for all the talk about COVID mask, I mean, you're jet setting, going around the world. I mean,
it was amazing. I have never been to Europe, and it was my son actually that wanted to go. with the trip from north. And again, we haven't been able to do it for years.
Right.
And we had so much interest. We ended up having 59 of us, which
Wow.
was quite a little, maybe too much. But we had 2 buses, so we were able to divide it up. But 59 of us, parents, a few teachers that chaperoned kids, and we had to kind of change it a little bit. We were supposed to hit 5 countries, but we ended up doing France and Spain. But it was amazing, and it was a very quick way to see Europe. Hopefully I'll get back there and can take a little bit more time. But for
So
the
if I'm not
kids,
mistaken,
it was great.
you went right before the fair, right? You got back.
Yeah, actually, I think I saw it because I got back June 19th. The fair was one of the first times I'd been out in a while after that. Yeah.
So that was
It was a good experience, and I think a lot of those kids have the little travel bug now. And traveling with schools, you can do fundraisers, and we even had some scholarships. There was probably one of my favorite teachers, Martha Layton. I don't know if you ever knew her.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But when she passed, they created a scholarship because she really, and that's probably why I went. It was kind of more of a tribute to her because she'd always been on me about never going. And they set up a scholarship, and they were able to help like 5 kids help with their trip.
That's
so
awesome.
She's an incredible woman.
So there was no international incident or anything with you?
No, you know what? The kids were the kids were amazing. I did get lost.
I didn't ask about the kids. I asked about you.
I did get lost once, and I kept telling the kids, "Always know where you're at." And I got lost once, but no, I mean it was about as flawless as we could have imagined.
So,
it
of course,
was
we want to ask
amazing.
the serious question. What was the food like? How was the food?
I was adventurous. The kids were adventurous. We did the escargot and trying all that stuff. It was amazing. I will say, crepes are always my favorite, though. I love
Good
crepes,
call.
both sweet and savory. I've always been a crepe person.
Okay.
And croque monsieur.
Monsieur.
Cook monsieur. You know what it is? It's pretty much a fancy hot ham and cheese sandwich.
Is that right?
Amazing.
Are we having that around the home now?
I don't know how to make it, but I'm sure it's on Pinterest. Vicky might know how to make it.
She probably does. So, well, that's neat. That
Yeah,
was,
it was good. It was a good trip.
So, you've then gotten back then into dealing with the peasants like us here on the chat, and so you've also found time to work with the county council, and you've got some.
I've been very busy with them.
Very
That's what I've done
busy with that,
most of the summer.
Because somehow you must have either gotten up to use the restroom in a meeting and they somehow got you on the budget committee, or you have completely lost your mind and volunteer.
I have a hard time saying no to
Okay.
stuff. So, yeah.
So talk about that. That's a big job.
It is. I felt like this is my second year doing it. And, considering I just started 2 years ago, I really think it's the best way to learn the council. You get to meet and hear from the department heads, learn what their needs are. I don't know that I would understand the council as much if I wasn't a part of the budget committee, or at least if I attend, and everyone can always attend it. But just really delving into it, I feel like that's the best way to do it. And so I guess my advice to new people when they run, if they are in a group situation or things like that, don't be afraid of stuff, just jump right in. And I think that's the best way to learn it. So.
I know a lot of people out in the general public, they attend just the regular council meetings, and I think they may not have a true appreciation for just the amount of time that's spent, particularly for those people involved with the budget. I mean, it's an inordinate amount of time that is spent.
I'm trying to think of how many days we usually meet for like 4 hours at a time, and I would say we've easily met 8 to 10 times, and we still got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah.
So it's a big commitment, but I've liked it. So
What would you say that the single most important thing that you've learned in that capacity about county government and these various offices that you didn't know before you got on the county council?
I think relationships are very important, which I knew that. But I also think it's important not to make assumptions. And I can use this great example from the Parks Department. I love the parks. I love quality of life stuff. And they had a list of projects they were interested in, and some that I was very interested in, like a learning community, like center. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And at the bottom, I personally put at the bottom, I was like, fish cleaning. I don't know about that, But then in talking to Adam's a great resource, he's like, let's just think about this for a second. He said, where are they going to clean the fish? And I said, well, I hadn't thought about that. And he said, where do the carcasses go? And I go, oh, okay, now I don't want smelly parks, and it kind of, that relationship, you can't make assumptions. even though I love parks, that I agree about the same thing with everything. And so just talking, I think it takes extra time to talk to those department heads and people to make sure you know what their priorities are. And that was one of the first things I did, was start meeting with department heads. And I think that's important. You got to put some extra time in to do that. And so
speaking about relationships, of course, you've had, I know, various mentors, and you refer to one in your educational experience. But you've had the opportunity to be, of course, involved with Clyde Kersey, who's an educator and also involved in government.
Linda Lambert was
another one that was obviously outstanding educator, and then very involved in government and really all politics, particularly from a Democratic standpoint. Thank you, Linda. A little shout out to her as well. And then, of course, some young lady named Tanya Paff,
who happens to be one of my best friends. Yeah. So.
Well, we finally found out who her friend is. So that one person. But so Tanya Paff, another very well thought of educator, and of course doing a great job in the State House, fighting for teachers and public education every day. I know how close the two of you are. So, and I know that also kind of inspired you to run for public office. So talk about how that is being an educator and how busy you are both at school and then at home, and then doing the work of the county.
I think, something that Tanya, and I think Tanya would agree with me, education is a good background for working with people in your community. We see it all. We see the children of every background, and it gives you a good grasp of what your community needs. And I actually think it's a great fit for politics if you can make it work with your schedule and time, because I see what the needs of our children are that I work with, and those are the same needs that connect onto our adults and, a lot of the services and programs. And just really realizing that in politics you should have a diverse group of people working. It should be, people of all different kinds of backgrounds. And I actually think our council's done a really good job of that. We have a diverse background on a lot of the people. And so having those voices, Tanya's one of our few voices now really at the State House for educators. Right. And I think that's important. And I do my own thing with education. I do stuff with our union and legislative team as well. But it all connects. And maybe it connected a little more for me. That's why I was so proud of Tanya when she ran. She taught math. I've always taught history and government and had a love for it. But when she put herself out there, I was pretty impressed. And I'd worked on a lot of campaigns like supporting local candidates, and then to see it personally, it really inspired me. I thought, I can do this too. So, and it really was a program. We've kind of talked about that program before, Who's Your Woman Forward, and a few talks with friends and family that said, just do it. And I said, okay.
You're going to have to take over this show. You just keep segueing us into topics, but I did want to...
It's because I transition a lot as a teacher. I do transition.
But I do want to take you back just a moment, because one of the things, and we've talked about this in various meetings, about getting young people involved in politics and party structure. And the fact that you, Tanya, Clyde before you, Linda, have been involved in such a integral way of county government, and you're so involved and so visible in your school. Talk about how the students react to that and what kind of feedback you get from them.
The kids, for the most part, a lot of them don't. I try to keep that world a little bit separate, but I also, at the same time, teach about using your voice, getting involved, getting engaged. You don't like something in your community, do something about it, volunteer. And that's a big part of what I do, regardless if it's, history or government. And so I will say what inspires me about the kids that I've really had in the last 3 to 5 years, I think they're going to do it. I see them, they're much more aware about politics, state, local, national. They ask the tough questions. Even if, if I say, it's a little bit off topic, they'll catch up with me, and we'll talk. And some of them are, family friends that, I know the kids and so on, pretty well. But there's some issues they're dealing with as young people and adults, whether it be the environment, gun issues, women's health now. They're fired up. And I think you're going to see, I hope that they run for office too, because I do think that's where you can make some change and get involved and learn. But I don't think they're going to be a quiet crew. I think they're
No,
going
I
to
think
use that
that's
voice,
great.
and I think they'll be voters. I mean, I think that's a good thing.
And yeah, that's important. And of course, it's important for them to have good role models, such as yourself and Tanya, for purposes of them moving forward in a way that's impactful to our community. And of course, I know you try to keep that separate, but all of them tuning into the Chat with the Chair, they're seeing you, and it's, we just can't keep this under
I am honest. I mean, I don't try to hide things. But I always kind of tell them, that's one of my worlds. And I said, you guys often can read about it in the newspaper.
Right.
If you have questions, if you ever want to run for office. One of my first students, I haven't had another student run yet, so I hope I have that in the future. But Curtis DeBon was one of my first students to run.
There you have it.
So, I do think you're going to see that, though. And I do have, kids. I had my students on the first day of class fill out surveys. And it's very rare that, because I ask them what they want to do, and I don't usually get politician down.
Okay.
And I got it down a couple times on this round. So I do think, again, I think young people are seeing that if you want to make change, you got to be a part of it. You can't just gripe about it.
Well, those young people out there tuning in, we want you to remember to like us on Facebook, share us, and do everything else that you're supposed to do on social media that's legal and ethical, right? And of course, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. I mean, we are out there. And as I say, once the corporate sponsor comes in, I think we're going to be on probably syndicated. I mean, this could be.
We might have to get you to do a TikTok dance.
We could do a TikTok dance. I could see this. I could see, Cartoon Network. I mean, I could see that. I mean, I think that's where we're headed. But so you of course transitioned into the Hoosier Women Forward.
Yes, which is probably one of my biggest parts of my life.
Biggest parts of your life. So,
other than my children and my husband, but yeah.
Well, other than those things and this show. But other than those items, talk about, to our viewers, Hoosier Women Forward, your role in that, and some big news about the next class.
Yeah. So I can't remember what year it would have been. Would have been 2020? I think it was. Convention. My first thing I ran for was state delegate, and that was pretty exciting. I thought I'm going to learn about what a state convention is. And they talked about Hoosier Women Forward. And I remember hearing about it, thinking, I don't know if I'm qualified for that. And I think that's the first thing a lot of, and I will say specifically women, sometimes we underestimate what we can do. And I think I learned that. I know I learned that from the program. So I let the first class go by, and actually one of my friends got in. And she said, you need to apply. And I said, I don't know. And I said that again. She goes, just do it. Just apply. And sometimes that's what you got to do. You just got to try. So I applied and got in. That was the first time we had a representative from Vigo County. And I'm proud to say we've had one ever since. We had myself, and then the next class was Jennifer Todd, and then Stacy Killian just graduated. And probably the moment, I mean, I'm proud of Stacy and Jennifer too, but this makes me really proud because she was my guidance office helper, and we've always talked politics. We always text each other during debates. Casey Blundell was selected.
Awesome.
So
big news.
It was big news, and I'm just so proud of her. She's going to have her first class coming up, and it's an incredible program. Again, kind of talking about COVID, taking stuff away from us and getting it back this year. This year, 3 of the classes, we haven't been able to go to DC, and there was about 60, 70 of us that went to DC together in the spring. Most amazing experience. The classes are amazing. I wouldn't have run for office had it not been for Hoosier Women Forward.
Well, tell the viewers about what the program offers, and those people that might be interested, how they could apply.
Well, there's 2 programs, and maybe you can help me with the name, because for our young people, oh my gosh, is it Emerging Leaders? I think it's Emerging Leaders with the state.
Yes.
An Emerging Leaders program, and that can be, I think, for both men and women, young men and women. And it really just teaches you about party politics, how things work, gives you even like some of the things that I really like. They just make you think about things differently. We had guest speakers come in. I've spoken about what it's like to be part of local politics. We have people come in just about how to carry yourself with the press, and just a lot of just important skills you might not get. And so we had that. And then it's also a networking system. I think it's what makes me, like when I look at the council and I have an issue or a question about stuff, I'll reach out to people who are in Bloomington or Fort Wayne or where I have friends. And so to kind of figure out some of what they're doing and see if they're experiencing some of the same problems we are. But it's networking, it's skills, meeting people in the group and outside of the group. And it's just, I mean, it was a confidence booster too, but I really just felt empowered after it. And I hope that, I would say Stacy and Jennifer felt the same way. I think we're all doing things our own way, and I can't wait to see what Casey does. She's already working in the justice system. She's going to bring a great background, had worked for child services. And I hope to see, I know I'll see good things from her, so I'm pretty confident.
And I understand, I think they devote a whole day to how to deal if they come on to chat with the chair. So is that part of like a full day spent
Hey,
for that?
it's the press. I guess you could say it's like the press.
Front of
But
press,
yeah, it was the whole day.
Award-winning.
But you're right, each
Award-winning.
day has a theme. Like,
Yes.
and there's no cost. That's what's amazing. The only cost really to the whole thing is if you have to take off work, but most of the time it's on the weekends, which works great. And then DC, if you fly there and you pay for your ticket. But they have scholarships, they can't help you. But it's covered through state fundraising and local, and corporate sponsors and things. And it's just an amazing program, and I'm so proud of the Democrat Party for supporting it and for getting it moving.
So you may have stated it, and maybe I missed it, but how do they apply?
Oh, they apply. Applications are usually every summer.
Okay.
So they're announced almost always August 1st or right around there. So usually you're applying in June. The class graduates in May, so right after they graduate, then usually they open up applications. And it's an involved process. I mean, you go through interviews, you have to get letters and, kind of prepare. And you have to commit. That's the big thing. They do want you to be able to commit for those days. You can't miss any of the days because it's such a short program.
It's always a great source of pride to see somebody from Vigo County on that list, right?
Yes, and I do think that's one thing I like about the program too. I think they're really trying to make sure West Central, like all parts of the state, it's heavy with Indianapolis. It's where the program's based. There's a lot of action politically in Indianapolis. But I appreciate that the committee tries to make sure we get representation that's all across the state, because we want to have women running all across the state,
Well,
so.
we've about worn out your inner circle, so we're going to have some other people step up to apply, aren't we?
Well, I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so too. So those people who have questions, could
They can contact any of us. I would absolutely welcome that.
Well, and how would you suggest they contact you?
I do all that, like Facebook Messenger.
Okay, you do
yeah,
that?
and then I'll give you, if they know how to get a hold of you, you have my number. There you
Contact
go.
me, and we'll post that,
Yeah.
how they can contact you. And
You
of
can
course,
use the county council email as well.
Okay.
And so yeah, anything. I'm open for it. Yeah, I love talking about it, obviously.
you do enjoy talking about it. So talk about what else is going on, your household, your work, your council, anything else you want to share with our viewers. Any
Pretty proud of my
breaking
boys.
news we
No,
can, huh?
I will say, not breaking news. I will say it's really neat. I've got my two older boys are in postgraduate work, and it's
Nice.
Actually my middle one just starts next week. He's going to be starting his PhD in informatics at IU, and which is a lot of stuff I don't understand. It's computer stuff.
Yeah.
But and doing some research there. I use embraced him with research, and he's going to continue it there. My oldest is doing his PA program through Indiana State. He bleeds blue. Went there undergrad and graduate, and he'll be done in May. His favorite rotation, I mean, he's liked a lot of them, but he's liked in behavioral health, which we desperately need people in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then my younger guy's a junior and has to be in class.
We got you in class, so it's going
But
to be a rough school year for him.
I love, he's very, I'm so proud of him. He does a lot of community service and engagement, and there's some really neat programs through, this will be a shout out to maybe to the parents to encourage, their kids to apply, and the kids that are watching.
Yeah.
But there's something through the Wabash Valley Youth, it's called the Wabash Valley Youth Grant Committee. It's through the Community Foundation. It's a great way the kids form almost like a grant committee. They give grants out to kid-sponsored projects. And he's serving as the president of this year of it. And
Awesome.
I'm just really, he's really become civically engaged. I'm really proud of him.
Well, you have a lot to be proud of. You got an
Yep.
awesome family. I just got to point out to you, though, that you have bragged about everybody
Except
here,
my husband.
Except your husband.
So my husband has a new role. He does a lot of economic development stuff now with Centerpoint Energy. And it's the first time he's, really in the last 2 years, he's always been an engineer, but this is more working in customer service. I think it's good. I say it's good to have change.
I'm here fighting for you, Andy, is all I can say. I'm here fighting at the table, at the round table for you.
You know what? They get a lot of their qualities and their work ethic. I was always a kind of more of a procrastinator, and my boys get a lot of their attitude and efforts from my husband.
That's so
yeah,
sweet.
there he's good. He
Good.
is.
You have been a wealth of information. You put a lot of information out to our viewers tonight. I mean, we could get some credit, I think. I mean, for this. This has been really informative.
We're trying.
Don't
And
you think?
I will say the one thing I want to, since I'm going to use this platform.
Okay. Right ahead.
I really think, and it's not just because I'm a public school teacher, but I really encourage people to watch what's going on in education right now. We're at a crisis. I think I read last night or heard last night on the news, we have over 4,000, I think it was 4,600 what they call emergency licenses, which means that those are unlicensed people.
Wow.
And they could be very good people. I'm not knocking that. I mean, I technically started off an emergency license in special education because I had a teaching degree, but I didn't have special education. But that is a crazy high amount, and most of those I would say probably are not coming from an education background in Indiana. And it's a crisis for that. It's a crisis. There was a crisis with some curriculum stuff last year that could have been really bad for our students. And we've got big school board races this year. I really encourage people to get involved, and I really, again, I'm trying to reach out to teachers to get involved too. We've got it, especially for state stuff.
Well, we want to make sure we reinforce that with
Yeah.
our teachers out there. We need you, and I know your name is not on the ballot,
No,
but what's
Tanya's is definitely.
So tell our viewers what important things they need to do between now and November.
Well, got to make sure you're registered to vote. I hope you're all registered to vote. But, I always say vote. I was one of those people who always like to vote on election day, but you never know what comes up. I say vote early when you get a chance. Get out there, support. There'll be parades, put up signs. I mean, I think everyone can find a level of comfort. Donate. You can do that too. $10, $20. You can do whatever you want. $100. But you can find what you want to do. It started off with me driving my car in the parades and having fun with that, and then getting involved. So walking precincts, reaching out to friends and family, word of mouth. I mean, that's share stuff on social media.
Get involved.
Get involved. You can't just sit back, and that goes for everyone. If you're worried about the children that or grandchildren, or we've got to. It's going to be a crisis in this state and across the country.
Well, we are delighted you could join us on the chat. This has been a very informative chat.
Well, thank you.
Any final thoughts for our viewers?
No. Hopefully we'll all have a good school year, though.
Absolutely.
That's my pride. So, and we'll get through budget.
We want to remind everybody, in addition to all this great information that Councilperson Theisz gave us, we want to keep in mind that August 29th, we have a big event.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Our state candidates are coming in, Operating Engineers Hall, 6 p.m. We can tie in a nice live chat as well down there, but we want to get a big crowd out there, great ticket and great candidates.
Some of the most important offices too. That Secretary of State one.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, good people.
Good
and
people.
A Hoosier Woman Forward.
There we go. See, it's a great tie-in, great segue. We can't thank you enough for tuning in. We know you have a lot of viewing options, and that the fact that you're tuning in to chat with the chair, we appreciate it. We encourage you to share it, like us, and tune in again next time. But for this Chat with the Chair, I'm Joe Etling. Thank you for joining us. God bless you all. Have a great night.
OCRATIC. Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem Party. So sit back, relax, and watch from anywhere.